Well, so much for that. Told you I had some computer issues. Looks like the segue there kind of screwed up, but welcome home. Welcome back. You've been following me for any sort of time. You know that I've been doing live videos throughout the whole season. Been doing some stuff with TD and also TD Fins Talk, as well as with Dougly Do Wrong. And it's been a lot of fun. Just been awesome working with some guys. We got a lot more interviews are coming up. I just hope you guys can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Make sure everything is going okay. Got a bunch of stuff to tell you tonight before we get into the content. And no, I'm not asking for donations, and no, I don't openly ask for likes, but they're welcome and subscribers. What I want to tell you is that moving into the off season, I was wondering what kind of content to really begin pushing. And it's funny, I see there's some guy in here that says, Cunningham is fake content. Yeah, okay. That's really me. I'm actually talking right now. I am actually a live person in my live home, my home studio here, and I really don't care if you're upset. I think that's what people don't understand. I actually had a guy tell me today that my laugh made him upset. Seriously. I'm going to be talking about football, and I'm going to have a bunch of guests on. I'm going to be moving more into the actual show podcast type space, especially here for the off season. Going to have some special guests as we go along. I'm working on a real special guest that may end up putting a uniform on for the Miami Dolphins. You guys might love that. Stay tuned. If I can get him to come on and we can confirm the times and work with his schedule, there may be a prospective Miami Dolphin sitting on one of these shows. That's the caliber of people I'm going to look at. I'm not looking at the normal rabble rousers out there. And I don't talk down other people's content. I am not going to get on here and say XYZ person's content sucks or get angry. I have a good life. I'm fun. I'm happy. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to look forward to the season. So, with all that said, and thank you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get to some comments in a little bit. What I want to do is talk to you about a video that came out yesterday. So, many of you who have followed me may know, and if you don't know, I started doing Dolphins videos last May, right before OTAs or so, right after the draft. Ton of videos, talked up Tua, talked up the team, followed the team through training camp, broadcast all 17 games, invested personally and financially in this team. And then people said I flipped. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the reality of what's going on. Sometimes, not sometimes, but a lot of the videos I post are reaction videos. Reaction videos meaning, hey, listen to what's being said, and here's my commentary associated with it. Whether you like it or not, sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't, but these are people in the media whose opinion may not matter to you, but they have very large audiences. And so I guess the average fan base person here that follows the Miami Dolphins may discount the media, but I think you do so at your own peril. I told you back in February that when Tua bounced out of those interviews that things were going to, possibly come back to him. But lately what I've been seeing is absolutely stunning. And I mean that because of their reaction to some things. Obviously, and we all know, Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel have come out over and over again and have emphatically said Tua Tagovailoa is our guy. It's unquestioned. Don't say nothing about it. That is the truth. Then, to even quell some of the more rumors, they came out and said, not only is he our guy, we're going to take his fifth-year option a month early because we don't want any doubt. We want everybody to know right now, when they said it, that Tua is QB1. I can tell you right now, and what I'm going to show you tonight, that obviously nothing these guys say, there's nothing that they're coming out and confirming that's changing any of the doubt in the media. I don't have an answer for that, but I'm seeing pundits, I'm seeing journalists, I'm seeing former reporters. None of them seem to believe what Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are selling. That's not my words. I posted some stuff. I'm going to show you something tonight. Not only are they not believing them, they think it's incredulous. They can't imagine that the Miami Dolphins would be pushing all in on Tua. Again, not my words. It's utter disbelief. Then you get the crowd that says, hey, listen, they're only saying it for clicks and views. That's the only reason why they question Tua, because other than Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson, Tua may be the number one, now that Brady is retired, the number one quarterback that gets clicks and views. I've been accused of being a clickbaiter. I'm going to address that. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, and you post anything, the reason you're posting anything, the sole reason that you're posting anything, is so people can see it. There's no other reason for anybody to post anywhere other than for other people to see it and for other people to watch, consume, or listen, i.e., click, watch, and listen. So if you're taking this crazy idea of clickbait way out of the realm of what it really is, we're all clickbaiters. Every single one of us. Even the people who comment such on my videos and call me a clickbaiter, the reason you're posting that comment is you're hoping that somebody else sees it. You're hoping for the click to see your comment. The media, they don't need the Miami Dolphins. They talk about the Miami Dolphins because obviously Tua is a very focal point. But I think a lot of the talk would go away if there was just a bit more transparency. There is nothing transparent in what Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are doing, and it's causing a lot of people to doubt, or as my thumbnail said, to question the bromance. Most of the media can't even understand, can't even comprehend why the Miami Dolphins wouldn't even listen to Lamar Jackson coming to South Florida. I know that's right. Just me saying that's going to freak some people out. I'm not telling them to do it. I'm not saying they are behind the scenes. I'm saying the reasoning they're saying up front, that they're not even willing to listen, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to anybody. I mean, if Lamar said, hey, listen, you know what? I take a contract for $5 or $6 million, and if you do some sort of deal with the Ravens and get me off the hook, I'd like to come. I know that's outrageous, completely outrageous, but you're not even listening. You've told people, nah, we're not listening. We're good with our QB. Yet, every other team that has also said they're not interested, they at least listen. Nobody has said we're not listening to an offer. Nobody is saying, other than the Dolphins, that we're no longer even interested. I saw the top 10 teams that were talking about Lamar. Everybody from the Commanders to the Indianapolis Colts to Atlanta. And they all had a statement. Hey, he's a great player. It could work here, but we're going to stay with Desmond Ridder, as the guy in Atlanta said. Guy in Indianapolis, GM said this could be a great fit. We understand that, but we now have a high draft pick. It's going to be a lot less expensive. Dolphins don't say anything. And so people are wondering, and I can almost hear it already. Very, 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 ESPN hates Tua. All the other rumors, the media sucks. Florio and Sims, they're haters or haters or haters. That haterade stuff, I mean, it's really sophomoric, man. That's really bringing yourself down to about a 7th or 8th grade level, calling everybody a hater just because they don't agree. So I'm going to take you, it's just like take you through this video, and I know it's going to piss off some people. And I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm actually delicate here. I'm trying not to step on toes. I've got a little bit of an allergy still, so my eye looks like I'm tearing, so maybe you guys are affecting me and I just keep crying. But the zombies have to stop. They're not going to stop me from talking. They're not going to stop ESPN from talking. They're not going to stop TD from talking. They're definitely not going to stop Dudley Do-Wrong from talking. You can say whatever you want. We're not stopping. We're still going to report what we hear. So let me explain. I do my videos about a week in advance in terms of planning. I don't film them a week in advance. And I look to see what my topics are going to be. And I try to formulate those topics and say, do I have content that can match the topic? And if I can match it, would the audience even care? And so I looked at this show, which was broadcast on ESPN on a Get Up show with Mike Greenberg, who's an absolute Jets fanatic. But it wasn't just him who was talking. I mean, everybody on set for the second show or third show in a row was like, the Dolphins need to talk to Miami. And people sometimes ask me, Barry, why are you always talking negative about Tua? I'm not. This isn't negative. In fact, what I want you to see, I'm going to show you something here. Let me go ahead and put a screen up. Just so you know, there is no positive news being talked about Tua Tagovailoa. I'm not harping on negative. There's nothing out there but either negative or doubting news. And so let me just show you. Let me bring this up. So if you go to Google and you do let me pull this up. Boom. You do a search on Tua Tagovailoa. Here's my search. And I go to news and I put in the rules of recent, meaning, let's say in the last week. So I just sorted this by the week. First article that pops up in the Palm Beach Post, Todd McShay, he's the guy who does the draft stuff. Tua Tagovailoa's injuries affect how I see the guy from Alabama. NFL Todd McShay reels why Carolina Panthers for Buckeyes land on McShay's 2-round mock draft. Dolphins quarterback breakdown. Mike White, Skylar Thompson compete behind Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins coach Tua Tagovailoa sitting on gold. Remember that when he said that? Here's another by Finn Fanatic. Mike McDaniel says Tua is a gold mine. Why did Tua fall from the first overall pick in 2020? That's some negative shit. NFL quarterback ranking, where Tua really ranks, and just on and on and on. And you don't even want to read this one. You know, Dolphins top 5 options at round 2. It's pick number 51. But there's nothing there. There's nothing at all in terms of actual, real, consumable content that people are interested in. And so you're left with the pundits, the ESPNs of the world, talking about what they know and who they're talking to about Tua. There's nothing else you can say about it. So if that's the only news, we have one choice. Either stop making videos or make videos about other things on the Dolphins that people are potentially interested. I made videos about Vic Fangio. I made videos about Tyreek. But there's nothing to talk about by Tua. So when I see something come out about Tua, and I'm only explaining this once so you guys understand the methodology for picking content. Everybody knows he's a good guy, but not everybody knows what the hell is going on. It's become a joke about the whole jiu-jitsu thing. It's become a joke in terms of, is he going to get a neck roll? Is he going to have the big kazoo helmet? What's going on? What exactly is going to happen? So I'm going to pull up this video and we're going to react to it. And let's see, let me make sure everything is working here. And then we'll stop and we'll take some comments and, you know, hopefully I can get you guys in here on this. So let me make sure that the sound levels are okay. So when this video begins to play. All right. So this is Mike Greenberg with Mike Tannebaum, Dan Graziano, and Tedy Brushi. Let's go.
We were in our meeting this morning, and the subject came up amongst the three of us as we were just sort of kicking around a bunch of ideas. Lamar Jackson is from South Florida. He has made very little secret, I think, in some circles, that the Dolphins would be a dream scenario for him.
Now, I saw today there was another YouTuber who talked about this all being BS, and anybody who talks about it being BS. and that there's no interest in Lamar Jackson whatsoever. Stop wasting time. Stop talking about it. But people are talking about it. And there's nothing you can do. You can't stop them by getting angry and getting pissed. So I just want to let you hear some of what they say, and then we can, talk counter about it.
We look at what that Dolphins offense looks like. Now, they don't have the first-round picks to sign him to an offer sheet right now, but these deals can be done without offer sheets being done.
Now, that's the first thing I want to stop. Everybody says the Dolphins need 2 first-round picks, and I'm sure you've heard everybody on YouTube and lots of people online saying the Dolphins don't have any picks. They can't get this done. That's bullshit. If the Dolphins wanted to get the deal done, and they can make the Ravens happy and make Lamar happy, the deal can happen. Take that away, if nothing else tonight, that the Dolphins aren't stuck by having to have 2 first-round draft picks. That is extremely important, and I'm not sure how many people tell you that, but if they tell you anything other, they're lying to you.
Why wouldn't the Dolphins have made a move on this, Teddy? You put Lamar Jackson on the Dolphins right now. I think they become the favorites to win the Super Bowl immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say Super Bowl. There's still a pretty formidable AFC that will be waiting for Lamar, and even the AFC East. But, I mean, you put this kid anywhere. I mean, this is what would McDaniel be able to do with him in terms of that offense. Also, I mean, the sky's the limit. Absolutely, I agree. Would they try to do that? Would Lamar have more of a motivation to go to Miami and have, want less guarantees also? Possibly.
Yeah, we don't know what he would take to come to Miami. So as a GM and a head coach, wouldn't you at least want to know what he would take, what the Ravens would take? I mean, this is getting very, very, very interesting. And before we go much further, I know there's a lot of people who compare injuries. Soft tissue injuries are not the same as concussions. You have to get that through your head. If I hurt my shoulder, if I hurt my knee, if I hurt my back, those are different types of injuries. Those are called soft tissue injuries. It's different than having a concussion.
They have that sort of feather in their pocket about that. So Miami is a definite, landing spot for Lamar because of, where he's from and where, what Miami can offer. But would he be willing to take less, and Miami could then come into play?
Yep. So that's a question that the brain trust of the Miami Dolphins are telling you we're not even interested in finding out if he's willing to take less. I've mentioned before, I've done business with the Related Group, which is Stephen Ross's company. And every businessman listens to a deal. May not take it, may not act on it. I get deals pitched to me for real estate all the time. Of course I want to look at it. If you're in my target area and you've got something that makes sense, yeah, I'm going to buy it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to tell anybody, stop sending me deals. I don't even want to look at what you might have to offer. No businessman does that. No businessman looks at something and says, you know what? This deal looks like crap here. And do me a favor, lose my email and never send me anything else ever again. That just doesn't happen in business. And I understand many people on the Dolphins fan base may not understand that. It's not a concept that a lot of people get to deal with looking at $200 million or so deals. But if I'm going to look at something, before I just discard it, I'm going to look. Does this make sense? I'm in a different market. If I'm looking at a house between $750 and $2.5 million, which is in my wheelhouse, I'll look at it. Can I whatever renovations does it need? What do I need to do? Do I have a potential buyer for this thing? Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Or no, I don't like the zip code. I don't like the area. There's a store down the street that's too much traffic. No, I'm going to pass on this one, but feel free to send me whatever else you have. And what we're being told is Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel don't even want to look. Stephen Greer doesn't even want to check it out. And so one of the questions I'm going to ask you right now is, do you think a businessman like Stephen Ross, be realistic, don't go nuts because you're a Tua fan. Be realistic. I'm asking you a question eye to eye here, teary eye to teary eye. Do you think that a businessman in Stephen Ross's capacity, with everything he's done in his life, is not looking to maximize his investment and has told everybody, I don't even want to look at this option? If you believe that, you can probably leave the video right now, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about people who are telling people publicly, nah, not interested. But you don't even want to know? Nope, don't want to know. But this could potentially be really good for you. Nope, don't even want to see it. I'm going with this. If you really think that businessmen, especially businessmen who have, lots of zeros in the bank account, just completely ignore and don't want to hear deals, you're not being honest. I don't know what else to say. You are not being honest. Some of you guys may own businesses. You may own a store, and the supplier comes in and says, I've got this widget. I can get it to you for 60% or 70%. Nope, don't even want to look at any more widgets. I'm good with widgets. But you don't even know what it costs yet. Yeah, don't even care. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
Look, I mean, that's going to be one of the questions. They would become an Olympic track team.
I don't know why they won't look at it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
You mentioned a baton earlier. Right. They just need that. And then they could start running like 4x100 relays with you. And there are lots of tackles in this draft. Graz, how about the Dolphins? What should they do?
They should get Lamar Jackson. I don't understand why this isn't obvious to everyone.
Why isn't this obvious to everyone? It's obvious to me that they should look at it. I don't know if it's obvious that they should take the deal. That's the difference that I'm trying to get across tonight. Why wouldn't you at least look at the deal? That's a huge, huge bar I can't get over. No, I'm not hating on Tua. There's no way I'm hating. I know people say it. I'm not hating on Tua. I'm a little bit older than 13. Hating doesn't matter anymore. It's business. Can this guy, Lamar Jackson, for what he wants, make my team better and affect my bottom line in a better way? That's all I got to know. Do I have a better chance to win with Lamar Jackson long term? I have a short window here. And then, of course, the other question. What if? And you all know what that what if means.
He's from there. I think he would like to play there. They're built to win now if they plug in, a solid, reliably healthy quarterback. And this would be a spectacular one that I think would elevate them to a level where we're asking the question, can anyone beat them? I think it would make that much of a difference. I don't know why they're so married to Tua Tagovailoa, but right now it seems like they are.
So we all know they have publicly spoken and said we're married to Tua Tagovailoa. We're not even going to look at anything else. And everybody I don't want to use superlatives. So many people in the fan base and on Twitter are like, you're an idiot. You're a clown. Why would you even talk about Lamar? The team has said they're no longer interested. You're right. I don't understand it, but you're right. And nobody seems to be understanding it. Nobody.
Didn't really get to touch on it much earlier. But Graziano's been talking about this all morning long. Tua Tagovailoa, there are questions that are attached to him. I hate saying it because we're talking, we're not.
And me too. I hate saying that there are questions. I watched the first 8 or 9 games. I broadcast every single one of them. And I was like, wow, this kid can play. Everything is set. Dolphins have their franchise quarterback. He's going to be here for years. This is it. And then what happened, everybody knows. So, yes, there is a question with this bromance. There is a question that people need to begin asking.
We're talking about a knee. We're talking about the concussion concerns. But they are real. Yeah. And even at his best, he's not Lamar Jackson. Fine. Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league when he's...
Now, I'll debate that. When he just said he's not even at his best, he's not Lamar Jackson, I think that's crap. I'm going to react to that right now and say that's BS. At Tua's best, yes, he's as good as Lamar Jackson, if not better. At his best, at his healthiest, yes, Tua is and has shown he can be a top-level QB. So I don't agree with that at all.
At his best. Teddy, what do you think of that? Should the Dolphins be making an aggressive move to get Lamar Jackson?
You know, I agree with Grouse. They should be considering this because of the risk that you have at the most important position in sports.
Risk, reward. Risk, reward. This is turning into a gamble. Nobody knows. Nobody, not me, maybe not even Tua himself. Nobody knows what's going to happen the next time he goes boom on his head. Nobody. Yeah, Lamar could come in and hurt his ankle. Sure could, but you know what? That ankle's going to heal. What happens if Tua gets another concussion? Answer that question. Don't say, it's thinking negative. No, it's being a realist. Completely real.
Was his quarterback. Okay, if Tua gets another concussion, I mean, how long do you think that is in terms of now everybody sees that and everybody knows about the concussions from last year? You got to think this is at least a month because they're going to have to make sure he's ready to come back again.
Are you realizing that this isn't going to be something? If he goes down again, if he goes down again, how long do you think it's going to be before he comes back? If he comes back, what kind of scrutiny he's going to be under? What kind of scrutiny the team is going to be under? You think Mike White is going to step in for 4 or 5 weeks and carry this team against a division that's got Josh Allen? Possibly, if Lamar doesn't come here, Lamar goes to the Patriots. And then Aaron Rodgers up at the Jets. That's 6 of the games right there. Plus, you got Kansas City. You've got all this other stuff happening with the way the schedule is working this year. Vic Fangio's defense, we got to hope he can hold these people, but nobody wants to answer the what if.
Tua has started doing jiu-jitsu, okay, to try and help him fall properly. All right. There are a lot of things that has to be done. I mean, does he know? Because the one concussion that he continually suffers is the one where the back of his head whips back and hits the turf.
And I don't think enough people understand the mechanics of that. No, it's not a frontal hit. It's not a hit to the side. It's boom when he goes back. So he's supposedly in jiu-jitsu, and I've had a couple of jiu-jitsu trainers talk to me. And one thing I never want to get into it with them is if he's taking lessons every Friday, like he had said in an interview that he's going every Friday to take jiu-jitsu lessons, how long will it take for him to have the efficiency and prowess to avoid hitting his head? How long is your normal training before you feel comfortable going, yeah, this guy's never going to hit his head again? I know you can't say never. It's not a good superlative to use, but it's a question.
If that happens again, like I'm saying, is it a 3? Is it a 4? Is it a 5-week thing? And then you come back and all of a sudden you're out of the divisional race. You're out of.
Bingo. That's what I wanted to talk about. If he gets hurt and you've decided you're not even looking at anything else, and he's done for 4 or 5 weeks, solve that equation. Solve the equation of what do you do next? Oh, Barry, we're going to put in Mike White. Okay. Oh, we're going to put in Skyler. Okay. That's where we are with this. Now, do you understand why the media sits back and goes, these guys don't really have a plan B? They don't really have a plan B. It doesn't make any sense. They understand the fragile nature of the quarterback that they have. Make some sense of it. Tell me you're going to do something to make sure that if this team is cruising along next year 8-3, that they can continue to win without any impediments. This is the type of thing that I look at daily. This is the type of thing that these people on TV talk about. And the reason why it keeps getting talked about is there's no answer.
The playoff race because of the competitiveness now within the AFC East with Aaron Rodgers. I can see what Graz is talking about, but I mean, when you're talking about jiu-jitsu and a player that maybe do work on core strength and even wear neck protection, can you have a quarterback with a neck roll out there? These are things you're talking about to keep Tua on the field so concussions do not happen again.
Yep. I don't know if you guys remember. I'm going to to date myself, but there was a quarterback who used to play for the Chicago Bears a long time ago. His name was Bobby Douglas. Bobby Douglas sometimes would wear a neck roll because he would get hit so much and he would get concussions. How are they going to outfit Tua? I mean, we're going to see once OTAs start, but I don't know. We don't have any data. We don't have anything to see. We don't have anything to follow. Everything has been in private. Well, Barry, Tua doesn't have to explain anything to you. Nope, he doesn't. And that's why you get these guys talking. What you just said is absolutely true, Barry. He doesn't have to show you dick. There's nothing he needs to show you. You're absolutely right. But then you can't complain when the media goes, what the hell's going on with this jiu-jitsu stuff? There's so much to prove, because if you're going to turn down and not even listen to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's mama calls and like, she's on line 1. No, we don't want to talk to her. But Lamar Jackson's mom is on line 1. Nope, not even taking a call. Okay, what are you doing? Well, we're hoping jiu-jitsu and a neck roll and some core exercises are going to be sufficient. Do you even know if it's even being taken place? If that's even happening? Is it even happening? Nobody knows.
And because one more, and there is a serious discussion about whether Tua is going to make it back again.
Not when. Notice what he just said. Tedy Brushi knows. Tedy Brushi had a couple strokes. There were, his brain, he took some hits as a linebacker. I don't know if they were related, but this guy had a stroke. And now you move into a different category altogether that not a single Dolphin fan I see on Twitter even wants to discuss. Not how long will he be out? What if he doesn't come back? If Tua takes another pop like he took in Green Bay or Cincinnati, he may not come back. And then what are you left with? Mike White and Skyler. And you're telling me that a billionaire real estate mogul, a guy who's built 30 and 40-story buildings, has dealt with the city, has all kinds of backup plans in case this goes wrong or that goes wrong. You're telling me that he says, nope, we're all in. I don't care who might be available. We're not interested in even listening to anybody. And every single person with a functioning brain that reads above a sophomore year level of high school looks at this and goes, man, this doesn't make any sense. Tell me there's something you guys know that we don't know, that the news doesn't know, that other players don't know. Dan Orlovsky is one of his biggest advocates, and he says if Tua stays healthy. Louis Riddick came on this show. I posted a video about it and said, Miami is definitely going to win the AFC East. No doubts about it. They're going to win. Book it. If Tua stays healthy. If Tua stays healthy. So I'm not denigrating Tua. I'm just saying that I don't think anybody, including a multi-billionaire, should be going on if. And nobody can understand it.
100%, and that's a great description. And then that's even taken a step, well, maybe to the side of that, if not farther than that, even if he is healthy.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? I mean, Tua Tagovailoa on this side, they love him. They obviously love him, and with the coach, and he played great. He was having an MVP caliber season when he was healthy last year. Yeah, I mean, it was like the first 4 weeks of the season we were having that conversation, right? Maybe, look, with those weapons, a lot of quarterback. Go ahead, Teddy. You look like you're, I mean, if I told you right now, hold on. If I tell you right now, Tua's going to stay healthy all year, would you then say, okay, then they're fine, you don't have to deal with Lamar?
Before I let him answer, I will answer that question. So that all you people who think I hate Tua, if Tua stays healthy, the Miami Dolphins, in my estimation, have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. No doubt about it. I saw what he did last year. We all saw it. A healthy Tua equals success. No doubt about it. Let's hear what Teddy has to say.
Then I think they compete for the AFC East. I think they can be very good with Tua.
Of course.
What Mike,
but now put Lamar on that team. Now what are they?
No, competing with the AFC East, that is a huge compliment. Okay, understand that if you win, like I think they can win the AFC East if Tua stays healthy. I think that offense can be that efficient with it. So if you win the AFC East, there's potential of you being the #1 seed. I'll say that, because this can be the best division in the AFC conference. So, no, that's meaning, I'm saying then they are a Super Bowl contending team.
Yep. We all believe that. To our hearts, even though you guys think I'm a Tua hater, I completely agree. If he can stay healthy, the Dolphins are a Super Bowl contending team. I'd like him to pick up an offensive lineman or two. I want to see what they do with their running game. But every one of us, I don't think there's, I don't know if you could find many people, including TD Finstock. Even he would have to admit, if Tua can stay healthy, the Dolphins are looking sweet. I mean, absolutely sweet. But what we can't answer is the looming question that keeps coming up: what if? And that's been the problem. And I think that's where a lot of people don't even like me asking that question. But I'm an adult. You're an adult. Stephen Ross is an adult. Very rich adult.
If Tua stays healthy.
Let me get Mike in here.
Yeah, Greedy, I agree with the sentiment generally, but the Dolphins have told us they've already exercised the fifth-year option. They are all in on Tua, despite him only playing 71% of the snaps.
Did you know that? Did you know that Tua only played last year 71% of the offensive snaps? 71%, 7 out of 10. That's all he played. And they've pushed all in on him.
As a starter, which is really low. So I agree, they're a better team with Lamar Jackson, but they have clearly said we are all in on Tua.
To be clear, his fourth season is what's coming up.
Right.
So they've picked up next year, not this coming year, but the following year's
a month before they even had to. It's very, very strange. I mean, I agree with Teddy. I think they're a contender to win that division, even with Tua, especially if he stays healthy. But if they put Lamar Jackson, you know how much better Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are than anyone Lamar Jackson's ever thrown the ball to?
Yes.
That would be potentially historic scoring potential for this offense. I don't know why they wouldn't look at it.
With like an offensive gene.
Why would they not even look at it? That's what this video is about when I said question the bromance. Why are the Dolphins not even entertaining the possibility of having someone, and I've talked all the way back, I know I've got people pissed at me, I talked about Tom Brady, and I talked about this guy, and I talked about Jimmy Garoppolo, and I talked about that guy, and I'm like, because it didn't make any sense to me. It never made any sense how you could go into the season without a QB1A, and as we begin to get closer, we're going to get to the draft. I'd love to see them pick up Hendon Hooker if he's available at 51. That would be awesome. But something is not right. And so I'm going to take the next 15 minutes or so and get to some of your questions. Nobody can hear me. Wait a minute. Nobody can hear me. I don't know why that happened. Yeah. I knew the video was messing up. So anyway, so let me host audio is very low compared to video. All right, I apologize. Like I said, I had some computer issues and everything else. Can you hear me now? If you can hear me now, I just played a video. I'm going to turn up my dial here. My microphone check, 1, 2. Let me see if I go ahead and push it up even higher. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. But I want to know from you, why do you think that nobody in the Dolphins organization is even talking about wanting to do something to make sure that Tua Tagovailoa is backed up? I'm trying to check my audio. Looks like it's up. So I'll push it even higher. I don't want it to break up. Let me check, 1, 2, 1, 2. But let me know what you guys think. Okay, so you can hear me now. All right. So let me know what you guys think. So somewhere over the oh man. So you're saying somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, they're just dreaming? No, a multi-billionaire doesn't just dream. A multi-billionaire just doesn't sit there and go, I think we're going to stay with where we are. That's not possible. I like this one. Dolphins have been bullheaded for years. They force-feeding players down our throats. Yeah, I understand that had been part of the problem, but we're looking at a Super Bowl contending team. And I want even the most fervorous Tua fans to tell me why you wouldn't have a backup plan in place, why you don't even want to listen to a backup plan. Now, is it, I love what Tonga Alley says here. Usually when they don't talk about it, something means they're working on a deal. Boom. Boom. I was waiting for that one. That's the old Bob Cousy head fake right there. Could the Dolphins actually be working on a deal behind the scenes? Since nothing else makes sense. Since there's no way any of us would push all in with this big question mark, you have to think there's a possibility that they're working on something. Now I have to start all over. The only way, and I'm not saying for Jackson to come. I'm not at all advocating for him to come to Miami and displace Tua. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is, if you have a injured quarterback, a fragile quarterback that everybody knows is potentially one hit away from calling it quits, you're telling me and everyone else here who's intelligent that you're not even looking at something. Sam Moretz says, I would agree, but does Greer want to admit he may have made a mistake? At this point, his job is on the line. If something happens to Tua and they go into this season and they don't have a backup plan, Greer's done. If they go into this season and something happens to Tua, McDaniel might be done. You guys have had the entire offseason with a number of quarterbacks raise their hand all the way back from Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, name them. And you've passed on everybody. And there's basically one left. Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets and he wants way too much money and he's 39 years old. Lamar Jackson, from an investment perspective, and that's what I want you guys to think too. Don't get mad at me. Think for a second. I'm going to keep Tua either way, but I got to find a way to make sure I hedge my bets. So if this one goes down, I'm still ready to go. Wow. I got a guy here who says that Eagles will get you fired. Absolutely. John Smith Lamar is way better than what's Tua's achievements. Yeah, achievements to this point, MVP, that's the big trophy other than the Super Bowl win. No, for sure. What's this guy say? Joey, no, for sure. I'd rather have Lamar. Trust me, this team would be a track race for the offense would expand. It would be insane. Again, nobody's answering the question. I had one guy answer the question. And hey, Gary, what's going on? I saw you this afternoon. I like Tua, but the Dolphins worry too much about hurting Tua's feelings. Do what's best for the team. That's why people call me a hater. It's such a sophomoric word, but I want to see what the team is going to do. I want to know that this team is best positioned to move forward. I invest every Sunday from September to basically February in this team. If I'm not broadcasting, we go out to the suite. I want to know my investment makes sense. So I know if I care, Stephen Ross doesn't want to see a half-empty stadium down there if the Dolphins are like 1-5 at the beginning of the year because Tua goes down. There's so many levels of insurance and confidence that need to be built here. And for the Dolphins brain trust to be saying, we're not even going to talk about it. We're not going to show you any pictures of Tua doing jiu-jitsu. We're not going to show you any pictures of training, Tua training. We're not going to show you building up his core. You're just going to have to take our word for it. I found a gold mine, says Mike McDaniel. Wow. I know Tyreek had posted something, not Tyreek, TD said, if you got a gold mine, then why aren't you protecting that gold mine? I know if I had a gold mine, I know if I was outside digging and I found some gold, I'd have a big burly guard out there, probably armed to make sure no one else took my gold. So you're telling me you've got the golden goose who's you're betting all in on, and you don't have a right tackle. Any of this making sense to you? I know that Tua could take us to the Super Bowl. Let's say he doesn't get a concussion. Let's say he's completely healthy. You're still going to have him dodging people out here if you got Austin Jackson as your right tackle. So why aren't you guarding this gold mine that you say you have? You have your own words. Mike McDaniel said, I have a gold mine. Cool. Completely believe it. I believe Tua is a gold mine level quarterback. But at the same time, I want to protect that gold mine. And he hasn't done it. Why? Nobody can answer these questions. This is what I'm talking about. There are too many questions. I could sit down with any person who's a Tua stan and they can start talking, yeah, over the first part of the year, his QBR was this and that and everything. He threw for 300 yards, 400 yards, came back and, had a great game against Baltimore, blah, blah, blah. What happens if he goes down? Oh, you're a hater. No, I'm just asking you a question. He hasn't completed a season ever in the NFL. He was hurt in college. So it's not a hater for me just to listen to you. Wow, he's one of the best quarterbacks out there. Uno is him. He is it. Blah, blah. Okay. What happens if he goes down? Well, Barry, you're a hater. No, I'm asking you a legitimate question. I want you to put yourself in Chris Greer's shoes and tell me what you would be doing right now. Okay, and I love this, Terry Holmes. This is the kind of response that I realize people aren't thinking. If Coach McDaniel believes, why shouldn't we? It's his team. Really? Do you buy tickets? Do you have a suite? Do you go down and pay $100 for parking? Do you do all the stuff that 80,000 people do? It's his team to coach. But there is no team if people don't show up. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, many, many, many Dolphins fans used to go to games with bags on their head because they suck so bad. I remember looking at television broadcast and the stadium would be 3/4 empty. Come on, man. Think a little bit further. If Mike McDaniel believes, why shouldn't we? Well, why should we? I'm going to turn around. If Mike McDaniel believes that, why should we? Oh, he's a head coach. Okay. What did he do last year? The team slid 2-5 and there was no answer. Okay, so what has Mike McDaniel done? And TD and Doug and I talked about this. What has Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer done since the end of the season to fix and improve the offense? Easy question. No right tackle. Signed basically the same 4 halfbacks. Got rid of Gesicki. There's been no movement forward. And everyone's just like thinking we're throwing barbs at them. And you're asking the wrong question. What if? Oh, Barry, what if Lamar got hurt? Good question. Then you got Tua. What if Tua got hurt? Oh, then you got Lamar. Mike White's not going to do it. I don't think there's anyone here who think Mike White or Skyler is going to step in and take this team to the Super Bowl. It ain't going to happen. Let's see. Oh, this is another good one. Again, this is Mike McDaniel's second year. Teams kind of caught up with it at the end of last year. NFL teams catch up to schemes fast, so how you have to be versatile. So Tua has to be better. You don't think that, and I talked about this with TD and Doug last night, you don't think there are coaches, defensive coordinators who've sat back and just watched every single play that the Miami Dolphins ran last year. Didn't have the availability, couldn't do that the year before. Mike McDaniel showed up in his year 1. There was no film. What did these guys do? You had a week to prepare. I don't think you're going to prepare too often for a guy like Tyreek or Jalen Waddle in less than a week. But now I've had 6, 7, 8 months to get ready for the Miami Dolphins. Oh, and I know there's no right tackle. What do you think I'm calling if I'm a defensive coordinator? Not that I'm saying go hurt Tua, but I know they've probably told him to dump the ball off. Got to think. Bump and run. Yeah, Richard Long, that could work, but bump and run, that could definitely work. Yanir. What's Yanir? I'm going to say this. That's the problem. The team is made up of seasoned vets with a short window. that don't have time or patience for continued development and inconsistent availability. Yep, I posted what Tyreek said, and people flamed me. Remember Tyreek's tweet? I don't have it in front of me here. When Tyreek said, the best ability is availability, and people, oh, he wasn't talking about Tua. What? Even if you say he was talking about receivers, does that not apply to Tua? It may not have been spoken about Tua, but there's no doubt it applies to Tua. Your best ability is your availability. Hey, man, I came to Miami for a big check and to win. You think some of these guys are going to stick around? Especially, and this is where the other comment about they may be looking at a deal, they may have a backup plan that we don't know. How do you tell some of these guys who have signed, who are looking for a ring? Sometimes a ring is more of an incentive than money. And I know I'm going to be here at least 1 or 2 years. What's your game plan? Oh, well, Tua. No, what's your other game plan in case Tua's not ready? If something happens. Excuse yeah, oh yeah, no one, some of us talked about it. Some of us talked about it. As you're saying, it became more suspect that it just, and if you look, Tyreek saw all the questioning. He saw people's videos. He checked social media, never took it down. Never took it down, never responded. If it was like, oh my God, I can't leave this up. This might have people thinking it's about Tua. Let me take this down or clarify. Nope, nothing. Nothing at all. Tua's had several Tua's had several rings, but not the good one, not the big one that the big boys want. That's not the one. If Tua doesn't work out, you bring in another guy. The team is literally plug and play. Where are you gonna find him? Assuming he's fine and he gets hurt in week 5, you think that someone on a Rolodex, hey, let's call in this guy. Oh, he's already signed someplace. Nope, he's already signed. What do you mean just call somebody up to be ready for week 6? You got 1 week to get ready, learn our offense, do everything. That's not how it works, man. It doesn't work that way. Legend here says, Barry, if you watch the games in the first quarter of the season, we had a lot of pre-snap movement. By week 7, there was basically no movement, no motion on offense. That keeps hands off the receivers. Yeah, he tried to adapt, but they still went 2-5, and then things crapped to bed. Next year, okay, you explained that one. The draft is coming up, Barry. Every team and GM lies to their teeth through the draft. Bet on their opinions who they'll draft their free agents. That's what's going to be really, really interesting. Like I said, Hendon Hooker. Let me ask you a question. Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. He drops to 51. I asked this to Doug and TD yesterday. He drops to 51. Do you take that guy? Or you just look the other way? Because then things start making sense. What if Austin Jackson is a good enough right tackle for a right-handed quarterback? Hey, man, Teron Armstead's over here. We got our stud. Maybe if we had a quarterback that was right-handed, we wouldn't have to spend much money over here on the right side. So, yeah, there can be a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. You don't know. The media doesn't know. That's what this video was about. I'm not casting doubt on Tua. I'm not casting doubt on anything other than the Miami Dolphins brain trust ability, their ability to make sure everything is taken care of. That's what I'm concerned about. And people say, well, Barry, you shouldn't be concerned. You don't know what the hell's going on. Nobody does. So if nobody knows what's going on, what's the alternative? Something's going on. I mean, you have to understand. If nobody can understand, these guys who are on Get Up on ESPN going, it just doesn't make any sense. If everybody looks at this and says, it doesn't make any sense, it must make sense. What did you say here? Did the jiu-jitsu guy say Tua can learn not to hit his head? So when one of the comments, the guy goes, I teach jiu-jitsu. And he said, one of the things they do is tell you how to, tuck and roll. Now, I took Taekwondo way back when I was a young kid. And I can tell you, going to Taekwondo twice a week, how long it took me even to do certain movements. Now, understand, Tua is a professional athlete in professional shape and may be able to progress further faster. But there's not a 300-pound guy chasing him down. There's some guys trying to build his reaction so that if this happens, how do you simulate that? So I understand if somebody throws a punch, how you duck. If somebody throws a kick, you step and move. 325-pound lineman running a 4.7, 4.8, 4.9 coming at you full speed, looking to take your head off. You're not going to teach that. It's just not going to happen. At 340 pounds, I ran a 4.9. There were people, there were coaches and there were players who said, I don't understand how bodies move the way you move. And that was decades ago. Now you're seeing guys like Jalen Carter. Didn't he run like a 4.7 or a 4.8? And this kid is 6'5", 200, 320 pounds, and he runs a 4.7 or 4.8. And you're telling me some jiu-jitsu coach who doesn't know football is going to tell you how to deal with that coming at you in a couple weeks? I know what I would say, duck. Don't worry about learning how to fall. You see somebody coming through the line, you just go down. I don't need to go to class. Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. If somebody's coming and they're 6'4", 6'5", 320 pounds, running a 4.7 or 4.8, and his only job is to break you, put you and make you in half. He wants to go Matt Milano on you. You better get down. Okay. This is real small type, so I'm going to read it. Barry, you literally made videos calling out people who do the same thing you've been doing since you jumped on the other side of the fence. You got the supporters now, and so I guess he's saying they're talking about flip-flopping. No, I'm not. If you listen to anything I said tonight, I said I believe Tua could be a top-level quarterback if he stays healthy. There's nothing about becoming like the media. Right now, here's the difference. Back in May when I started making these videos, the media wasn't being fair to Tua. They were saying, he's a dink and dunker. He doesn't have the ability, doesn't have the strong arm. They were just spewing crap without any substantiation. You saw it. I did videos on, what's her name, Mina Kimes. I did video on Diana Rossini. I did videos on Stephen A. Smith. I did videos on all of them. What's his name? Florio. They were just talking shit. This is a whole different category. This is real life. He had concussions. He was gone for the end of the season. This is what he is right now. Nobody is on the other side of the fence. This is reality. I'm sorry you can't take it. I'm sorry you don't understand that this is real life. It's not conjecture. It's not made up. Not intentionally trying to harm Tua like the people did back in May of last year. If you think it was bad last year, wait till you see what happens this year. When they've got film that they can show over and over of him getting concussed and throwing 3 interceptions in the back half of the Green Bay game, and there's been nothing to show for it. So no, I'm not doing the same thing as they're doing. I'm asking you a question, and you're telling me that don't question him. That's the problem with the Tua fan base. They don't even want you asking questions. It means you're a hater if you ask a question. I'm sorry. My parents brought me up to question everything. My parents said, hey, if you have a question, ask it. You may not get the answer, but you have the right and ability to ask a question. And I get people telling me here that, hey, listen, you don't even get to ask the question. Don't fall in love with the player. It's about what's best for the team. We all know the odds will drastically improve in Vegas. If Lamar is on this team, Vegas always knows. Yeah. Do I think if Tua put on more muscle mass, that would help his case. His core, his neck girdle, things of that nature. But it takes a long time to build your neck girdle up, and it still doesn't stop you. You know, if he hits in that design, what would happen? See, the question to me isn't whether Tua is going to get hurt. I think that just doesn't make any sense. Is Tua going to get hurt? No, the question is, if Tua gets hurt, what's your move? If Tua gets hurt, what's your move? Well, Barry, no team is ready for that. Yeah, they are. Ask San Francisco. And then Brock Purdy. They were down to the third string quarterback, and then they were toast. Yeah, that's why you bring in a reliable backup. Jimmy G breaks his ankle. You bring in Brock Purdy, who did what he did. So that is, he can get slammed as hard if he carries more weight. Team first, absolutely. I'm going to close with that because the Tua haters will say whatever they want here because they can't answer the question. I'm hoping you guys can see the difference between what was said last May and April to what's being said now. Now these are legitimate questions. I went through the whole thing about Lamar. I'm not saying to go get Lamar. I'm just saying as a businessman, as a businesswoman, are you seriously going to tell me if the call is made that you won't even pick up the phone and discuss bringing him onto a team? Not going to do it. If you say, yes, I'm not going to talk to him, I think it's a double negative. If you say, no, I don't want to hear from him, then it tells me you're not being realistic. And those are the people that you see on Twitter screaming because you even dare bring it up. So I'm going to close now. I've been going for an hour. I just want to tell you, I apologize for the computer stuff. It's because I haven't gone live in so long. The board here wasn't set up correctly, and I apologize for that. But there's going to be an announcement real soon about a huge interview that I hope to confirm tonight or tomorrow, which you're going to want to see. Like I said, it's with a potential Miami Dolphins player. And we're going to hear from, if he comes on, you're going to hear from a potential Miami Dolphins player who's going to discuss what he thinks and where he thinks he could help the Miami Dolphins should they sign him. Stay tuned for that. And then also we're going to be doing a lot more stuff with TD and hopefully Doug as well. We're looking at putting some things together to really surprise you and actually have a panel. To discuss this kind of stuff and have a good time doing it. And the last thing I want to say is, I don't know if you guys saw it, but make sure you go set it up, go check it out. And you can always fast forward to the end. There's a segment at the very end that to me explains it all. The people on Twitter think that, one, we're angry, we're frauds, we're clowns, we're miserable people. And during the show last night, I could hear a baby in the microphone. And I know TD recently had a baby, and I know Doug had a baby. And I'm like, which one of these guys? One of these guys, their babies in the background. And I said, TD, pick up your baby, give her a hug. Let these ignorant people know that your life is good. You have family. You look at this little girl, and you don't care about Tua. You don't care what they say because that's what is all about. It's about life. Don't get pissed off over a football game or somebody's opinion, whether it be mine or somebody on ESPN. Let's just have discussions about it. No emotion. No emotion whatsoever. So if you're that type of person that just likes to discuss what's going on, that's what I want. I want people who can bring more discussion to the entire team and what's going on. Don't get pissed at me. Don't get pissed at TD. Don't get pissed at Doug because he dared talk to us. Enjoy it. This is supposed to be fun. I don't have loyalty to a team. I don't have loyalty to a player. I have loyalty to my wife. I have loyalty to my faith. I'm here to have fun when I do this stuff. This is a little side thing that we do, and it's just a lot of fun. And I want to be around fun people. You remember fun? I remember Led Zeppelin when they were, what song they were doing? You remember Laughter? Robert Plant said in one of the songs. I'm going to have to get that sound bite. Do you remember laughter? Do you remember when people didn't get pissed off at people because of what they said and want to shut them up and cancel them? Let's have some fun. We've got, roughly 5 months to go before the season. Life is too short to be pissed off. Way too short to be pissed off. Especially about football. Talk to you real soon. Look for that announcement of the prospective Dolphins player interview, and also you're going to hear more from TD and Doug and myself. We're going to really take this to the next level. We know it's going to piss off a lot of people. I mean, poor Doug got flamed because he dared sit down with TD and me. People didn't even want him talking to us. You're giving him credibility. It's bad to even discuss things with TD and Barry. No, man. Different walks of life. And so one of the things I'm looking in, part of what we're doing, is I'm looking to set up a line where people can call and actually be part of the show. So a lot of stuff coming. Thanks for sitting with me on a Wednesday night. Gonna eat some dinner, watch some Survivor. Talk to you soon.